You have one new voicemail.
Hi! So you would be so proud of me. I'm hosting Thanksgiving for my friends, and I was stressed because I really wanted it to feel just like Michigan. But then I found the same stuffing mix that you use on Instacart. And I ordered instant gravy, canned cranberry, what else? Oh, I got everyone a little butter sculpture shaped like a turkey. All right, I should probably get cooking, but I miss you today. Happy Thanksgiving, Mom. Oh, and you should download Instacart. It's way easier than sending Dad to the store.
Download Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
What's up, Cuzzy Wuzzies? You're listening to the Bay Ridge Boys, History Hyenas. Bad.
You guys are just sitting and not saying anything, waiting for the music.
Well, we're thinking of what it's open with.
Hello out there to all of our listeners, our loyal hyenas, our matriarchy. We got a good friend. He's a good friend now.
He's a good friend of ours because he gives us money.
Gives us money.
Money buys friends. I need all the friends I can get, so
Yeah.
I got to spend a lot of money to have friends.
It's Mr. James Altucher, everyone.
He's here, and he's here to buy the Tim Dillon episode
He's
in cash.
he's here to buy the Tim Dillon episode. He doesn't know that yet, but we got guys in that through that door that have fucking guns and knives, and they'll hold your family at gunpoint if you don't buy the episode right now.
Hey, take my family. You could just have them. So I've got 5 kids. They're for sale. So you could just have them.
You got 5 kids?
5 kids. Well, 2 and 3.
Nice.
So, all right, because you told us on your podcast.
right.
Nice
Nice.
blended family.
Yeah.
That's the
Beautiful thing.
When you do podcasts so close together, like we just did his and now he's doing ours, we got to really struggle to remember if we talked about that.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to be like,
We'll just repeat.
Yeah, we'll just repeat it. No big deal.
Right.
But James Altucher's here. It's
James Altucher, who when Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies, he's going to play her in the movie.
That's what he's going to do. Yeah.
I'd have to you could get a little
Yeah.
notorious
Your wife's
RBG.
laughing too hard. Your wife's going to get disciplined. Don't laugh. The Bader Ginsburg joke, babe.
Hey, so we do RBG role play all the time, so it
That's
fits
what
right
it
in.
is.
So,
That's hot. That's hot role play right there.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Stick a gavel in my ass.
I love how there's always like an article about her and about how healthy she is.
Yeah, and you see her, she's like kind of mummified already.
Like literally, I think that somebody unzips her out of a duffel bag every day and puts a robe on her and just
Well,
puts her
they're
out
just
there.
trying to hold on to this to some sort of balance or liberal skew on the Supreme Court. They're just they're propping her up and keeping her alive. I think it's going to be like Weekend at Bernie's, but with her. When
with
she
her.
goes down,
Well-
they're just going to prop her up and pretend she's still alive, just so abortion remains illegal.
You know,
or legal.
I actually have money on her death, but I have money on her staying alive long enough for Stephen Breyer to die first. So he's the other Supreme Court justice in his 80s, and I got 13-1 odds. That Stephen Breyer would die before RBG.
I'll take that bet.
I'll take that bet too.
I mean, she will not die.
She won't die.
She's not going to die.
And I love they show those videos like she's still working out, and it's just like her with a toothpick going like,
yeah.
It's like, wow,
No,
she looks great.
Wait, I've never seen her actually move. Are you sure they don't just put the weight in her arm and freeze her in that level?
I think it's a stop animation, actually.
Yeah,
where they just-
and her head's going to fall off. She's like that parrot from Dumb and Dumber. They're going to have to tape her head on.
I'm telling you, they're keeping her alive. Like they're doing whatever magical kind of thing that those elite people know about.
Keeping her alive.
They're keeping it's the same thing that Dick Cheney's taking. I mean, that motherfucker won't die either.
There's some evidence actually. There's research that if you take fecal matter from a young, shit from a young person and feed it to an older person, with rats, the rats live longer. So they're testing it out with humans.
Interesting.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's totally true. That's all these people are researching this.
Yeah.
So maybe all the
poop is fascinating. We need to do an episode on poop. The thing. I mean, ancient people would liquefy their poop and drink it. Like it's a whole thing.
My dog eats it.
And your dog's smart.
I got to get some kids over to my house to shit on the floor and then have him eat it. My dog will live forever.
And look at how smart your dog is. Your dog's black and it lives in Westchester. The dog's black. It's a black person that made it to Westchester.
That shit, man. My dog made it all the way up there.
Wait, by the way, we're having an ongoing argument in my house.
I want to run my fingers through your hair.
We're having an argument in my house about what Wei Zhongjin means.
Okay.
Does it mean be careful?
No.
Okay.
Her theory is this means be
you
careful.
Want to explain it or you want me to explain it?
I want to say it, but I also want to just give James respect because his wife is a piece.
His wife's beautiful. You know that his wife is gorgeous. You know she came after the money.
That's what everyone always says. I can't argue with it. I don't know.
Yeah, she said.
He said, "Hi, my name's James Altucher." She said, "I don't give a fuck what's your name. Just take me to Barney's."
She said, "Ka-ching, I heard you on Tony Robbins' podcast. You got money. Where's those bitcoins, motherfucker?"
I don't even know where they are. I lost all my passwords.
Yeah. I'm kidding. No. James, the way
is he okay?
No, he's all right.
We never know. We don't know.
We got a bet going that he's going to die live on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we try not to be funny because he says, "Guys, I forgot my asthma inhaler."
He's got asthma medication. He doesn't take it.
You're not going to have a podcast if he goes.
Yeah, he's not, if you start having an asthma attack, you're not going to survive by breathing into a bag of Arby's. Okay.
Did you bring your asthma inhaler?
He won't bring it.
Good.
Oh, you have it?
You have it. Good.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So James, what and Mrs. James. So what? so Wei Xian, what it means to us. Well, first of all, what it actually means, what the name where it comes from, stems from, is he was an ancient eunuch in
it's a person?
BC China. Yeah, he was an ancient eunuch in some ancient Chinese emperor's harem. So we were just randomly talking about him in an episode, and our old sound guy, Zach, who's been fired, it just happens.
Wait, your sound guy, Zach's been fired?
We got fired.
Zach ISIS?
He was a Muslim guy,
gone.
but now we replaced him with a Jew.
Yeah, so it's just like the West Bank.
One for you. Yeah.
We win. All right.
Yeah,
One back for you. Yeah.
And you know what's even weirder is
3 jobs back for the Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weirdest
Podcast
part
stuff.
about it is they actually live 2 blocks from each other in Astoria.
It's what it is.
So they have to pass each other when Zach is coming home from his temp job and he's going to Zach's old job. That's just it's a strange moment that happens in Astoria once a week.
Yeah. So Wei Xian, so he had played the name Wei Xian. We were trying to figure out how to say it. We were just doing a random episode about this guy, and then he played the pronunciation of it on a speaker, and we just started laughing at the way the robotic voice said Wei Xian.
Yeah.
So then it kind of just blossomed into any time really I would say something crazy and wild, we would hit the Wei Xian button because we just thought the pronunciation of the name was funny, and then it kind of morphed into now if we say anything that is we understand how crazy and out of bounds we were, we say the Wei Xian to like save us and let our fans know like, hey, we knew that was crossing the line.
It's a character piece. We didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Character piece and Wei Xian are synonyms.
Yeah.
Do you ever like try to break the record of how many times that button's pressed?
We may have done it last episode. I
it.
came out swinging.
Yeah. Well, last episode, I think we broke the record for the amount of content that had to be cackled out.
Yeah.
I remember another episode where at the beginning you broke the record. It was like 2 seconds in.
And I got Wei Xian.
It was like that knockout of Jorge Masvidal when he just ran in and kneed Ben Askren in the head.
Yeah.
It was like the quickest fucking knockout in podcast history.
But the good thing is for our Patreon fans, patreon.com/Bay Ridge Boys, for a certain tier, they can hear they can hear nothing. No edits, no Wei Xian.
Oh, no, I like the Wei Xian.
Some people love it.
The sound.
Some people prefer it. And
you should make T-shirts with the glossary like on the back without naming the podcast. So this way everyone will ask the people with the T-shirt, what does that mean? Where is that from?
Yeah.
And that's how word will spread.
See why he has a hot wife now?
Yeah.
Kid's fucking screwed and he knows what's going on.
Kid is
okay. So somebody write that down because that's the T-shirt we're selling. I mean, what are you doing?
It'll work.
You give us great $1 million ideas, and we can give you trail mix.
It'll work. Now, I do go broke a lot too. So after you make the money, don't listen to my advice anymore. But until then, listen to my advice.
Yeah.
So you feel like you have like a gambler's personality a little bit? Like if you don't like security.
No, because I think true gamblers don't take risks. So I don't like to take risk. Like you want to make money with taking as little risk as everyone thinks. Oh, you have to take big risks to make money. No, the way to make big money is to take no risk. Let other people take the risk for you. And
Wait, so how?
Interesting.
But how?
So then when I make the money, that's when for some reason I psychologically get messed up, and I think I can take risk after that, and then I lose everything. I've done this 4 times in a row.
That sounds like a gambler to me.
What's the most amount of money you've ever had in your bank account? If there's, I don't know if you're
in a checking account,
yeah,
like just like cash in a checking account, like all cash and everything was about 15,100,000. And 2 years later,
Was that at Banco Popular?
Wait a second. Hold on.
Wait.
I got to get a towel because my seat's wet. I just got wet.
But wait. That's that's the bad news, because 2 years later, or that was the good news. 2 years later, that same account had $143 left in it. So I lost.
And that's all the money had to your name. You didn't have money in investments.
No.
You were worth 143.
Yeah, 143. I lost a big apartment here in New York City that I had bought, and then I had no jobs, no opportunities, nobody was returning calls. My parents wouldn't even lend me the money, and so I had to figure it out. But that happened to me at least 4 times.
That's why I felt comfortable asking, because I know like the ups and downs of it. But it's so amazing to me. You could lose that much and then get it back.
Yeah,
well, because then I started to gamble. Then I started to say, "Oh, I'm really smart. I made this money." So before I was totally, I cashed out. I was really protected it. I put it didn't even want to put it in a savings account. Didn't want to risk it at all. Then finally, I'm like, "Oh no, I'm smart. I made this money. I must be smart." So then I just started investing in all the worst possible things you can invest in. Like, imagine like a sports portal for left-handed people only, like things like that. Like, I would just go insane, and then I would double down when things went down, and then I would borrow money and to invest more. So I just went totally dead broke, right. and then but it's not even once. It was like 4 times, and all the same, down to 0.
Interesting.
And it was so.
But there's a fearlessness, like we were talking about before, about how when you hit rock bottom and come back from it, there's a fearlessness and confidence that comes with that I would imagine you have now.
I don't know.
You can always get it back.
I think I can always get it. Like, before, I didn't think I can get it back. Before, I thought, oh man, I won the lottery. I wasn't really like a natural business guy. I won the lottery, and now I lost it all. Just ruined my kids' lives, ruined my life, ruined everyone's life. But now I do think I can make it back, but I don't want to anymore. Like, it's really depressing. I was suicidal each time. Mm-hmm. It's just, imagine having that money and then having 0.
Can
and
imagine.
Like losing your house and, I don't know, losing everything. And
so now you're like, the money that I have, I want to keep it and not go down to 0. Like, I want to invest.
Because I realized this exactly.
So then why'd you buy Stand Up New York?
Yeah, I kind of wish you had $15 million again, so you could make a dumb decision and buy the Patreon podcast for $1 million. Because we got an episode up there for $1 million with Tim Dillon where's $15 million James Dummy Altucher? I'd like to get $1 million. My Banco Popular account.
When I get up to 100, I'll do the $1 million for the Tim Dillon podcast. That's a promise. But yeah, so I bought Stand Up New York because I wanted. That was like my. That was my dumb. I give myself one dumb investment per time now, and that is the worst investment. Don't ever buy a comedy club. I will sell you that comedy club for $10 right now if you want to buy that comedy.
They don't
buy it.
Comedy clubs, like, it's hard for a comedy club to be the main business, right? You have to have like a restaurant business.
No, you can't. Like, anything that you could touch is a bad investment.
But it goes in waves, because I started comedy in 2009, 2010, and when I started, Stand Up New York was line around the block every single night. The Comedy Cellar, which is the one who's doing the best now, was doing well, but not like it's doing now. And Broadway Comedy Club is doing great, and now it's not. So it's like these things change so much for so many different reasons.
I think though, comedy clubs in general, people just don't go out anymore. Like, you go watch YouTube. People think you can, the comedy experience on YouTube is the same as a live comedy experience, and it just isn't. Like, you'll laugh so much more in a live experience if the comedy's good. But Comedy Cellar, this place, there's 1 million people a day pass by the club. Right. Stand Up New York is on a side street in the Upper West Side. Like, literally nobody walks past that club. So there's no foot traffic.
You depend on like Times Square Barker.
Yeah, Times Square. The Barkers say, "Oh, Chris Rock's performing tonight." Yeah. And then they buy the tickets. Oh, Chris Rock, and of course Chris Rock's never performing there. Right. And then there's the 2-drink minimum.
You said you weren't really a business guy. What do you mean by that? Like, what is it? How do you make $15 million and not really be a business guy?
So I was really into. I wanted to just write fiction. Like, that was my dream. And I moved to New York. I worked at HBO thinking this will get me connections, but I was a software guy. That's how I got into HBO. And I happened to know how to make a website. It was like 1994, 1995. Mm-hmm. So there was like 6 people in the city who knew how to make websites. And so somebody asked me, can you build a website for me. So I made one website, then I made another. I ended up making you could probably tell a little by the way I look. I made the websites for every gangster rap record label. So like,
Really?
Yeah, like The Source Magazine, Loud Records, Bad Boy Records, Death Row, Interscope, Jive. Like I did all the Wu-Tang Clan's websites.
Right.
So,
Wow.
And then I did AmericanExpress.com, TimeWarner.com, ConEdison.com.
That's
so
you. You made that.
So I had a business and I had this is the risk thing. I was so afraid that this business would fall apart, that everyone would think the internet would just disappear, that I kept my full-time job. I was making $40,000 a year at my full-time job at HBO. I kept the job for 18 months. American Express paid us $260,000 for their little website. The Matrix movie was $250,000. We did all these websites, and I wouldn't give up my full-time job. And then at night, I had 30 employees down the street making websites with me. So that was the first business.
Yeah. And then what did you do with that money? Like the money you made from that? How'd you flip
that went to your ex-wife.
Yeah, that was all part of the $15 million, and that went to zero, and then I got divorced. So that was like.
But how did it go to zero? What did you put it in that it went to zero? Besides the divorce.
So I took it out. I took it all out of these internet stocks, and then just a few months later, what am I doing? The internet's great, and so I put it all back in internet stocks, and then borrowed against it and put more into internet stocks.
But he's an example.
So you were just investing in all bad app ideas.
And also, I thought. This is the crazy part. I honestly thought I needed to make more. Like I thought everyone's getting rich in this internet boom. How come this is how stupid I was. How could I only make 15 million? So I thought, I need to make as much as these other guys. I'm stupid if I don't. And so it was just insanity. I wish someone had like told me to do differently, but I just didn't know. I didn't know anything about money.
That's what we were talking about with money. Episodes ago, eons ago, we talked about these guys. I forgot what their names were, but there was two multi-millionaires in Germany. One was like the richest man in Germany, or the second richest man in Germany, and the other one was like the third richest man or something like that. And they both had like hundreds of millions of dollars. And one guy, as he's like the last 10 years of his life, he wanted to just give his money away, like month by month, to people that need it. He was like, he gave some to his wife and kids. He's like, I just want to get rid of my money. Like, I felt like it was, my life was like ankle weights, and I just want to give it away. And he was so happy, and he like died with all these people around him.
And he was a Nazi.
Yeah, that's the part I was getting to. No, I'm kidding. So, and then the other guy, because of like differences in stocks or whatever, in just 1 month, went from being the second richest guy in Germany to like the fourth richest guy in Germany. So still worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he jumped off the roof of a building and killed himself.
Yeah.
It was just money. It was like, you both had the same money. One guy was so happy to give it away, and you.
Right. It's all mindset, because money, it doesn't mean you can't even spend that kind of money in a lifetime if you're a reasonable person. And so it doesn't matter how much you have after a certain amount. It doesn't matter. And yet people get like just so twisted.
Is that what makes you lose it? Because the money is so much, it almost becomes meaningless. So what has meaning is the gamble, is the let me play the game. Let me put it back in and
I don't know what it is. Like I would just, like there's like three skills to money. There's making it, keeping it, growing it. So I had this making it ability, but I just couldn't keep it. Like it was just insane how the ways I would lose money over the years. Can I tell you one story?
Please tell them.
So I was invested in this one company, and I was on the board, and then it went public. I had this stock worth $9 million. This was like the third or fourth time. And, I was on the set of the TV show Billions, because I was like an advisor one of their seasons. And I get this call, hey, emergency board meeting in 10 minutes on the phone. And I figure, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. The company's getting acquired. I'm going to turn this 9 into 30. Who knows how much? And so I get on the board call, and the CEO says, listen, we have bad news. Our largest shareholder didn't tell us he owed $90 million to the IRS, which goes against our bank loan. So the bank's going to come over here, shut down the company, and split it off to all these other companies. So they literally shut down the company within hours of this news. The stock went from whatever to zero in a day. So the $9 million went to zero in a day, like just that day.
And you had no hint that you had no idea.
No idea. I thought the news was going to be good.
Right.
So I went from thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be unimaginably rich, to, man, it happened to me again. I'm dirt poor. And because I had like all my money pretty much in that stock. And then I was in the middle of nowhere. Like they were filming it was the very first episode ever filmed for Billions. So we were in the middle of New Jersey somewhere at Axe Capital, if you ever watched Billions. And I remember thinking, like, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to be able to be calm for the rest of today? Should I go home? So I just decided, you know what? I've been through this before. I'm just going to enjoy the day. I've never been on the set of a TV show like this before. I'm going to enjoy the day, think about this later. And that's what I did. So that's when I finally realized, I could start learning from the other times this has happened to me.
Were you married or single then?
I was married.
You're married.
Yeah.
I had to think about it, but I was married. So not to her.
That's a tough convo when you get home. Hey, honey, how was your day?
I don't think
It's $9 million.
Yeah, we're broke.
I don't think I told her. So
Yeah.
So I just
You're always calling me a zero? Well, you got your wish.
Yeah, well,
That's what I am.
you nailed it today.
self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
Wife fulfilling.
Do you think the expression bulls and bears make money, pigs get slaughtered is 100% accurate or yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah, because again, it's all about
So it's just
not
greed.
taking risk.
So the greed that's what makes you lose the money. Is you just go a little too far. You just want it.
Yeah, like I could have sold that stock at any time. It was $9 million worth of stock. I could have sold it.
Right.
Instead, I was like, no. It's $1 billion in revenues. Like this is going to go up more. And I wasn't making any sense at all. Like I was just, every time this has happened to me, I've been totally crazy and irrational.
Yeah.
Like
Sometimes you think I'm crazy, like when, because I've had situations where like my dad, like,
I just don't trust you because of the way you look.
right. Because
You look like a Nazi. You look German. Like, do you get a little nervous around that face?
I know all you guys are itching around.
I just don't like the way you look
I
at
don't
me.
have a weapon.
we all got eczema suddenly broke out everywhere.
Yeah, because right here you got two Greeks. You went and you conquered us. You didn't do nice things to us, and then you got your main target over here.
Yeah.
And you keep looking at him like you're a painter, and you put on one coat, and you're looking at him like you missed the
Did
spot.
anybody want to play soccer? James, give me your head.
That's what makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Stop looking at him like he's a missed spot that you missed in a painted room.
But my what was I forgot what I was asking.
Yeah, you forgot what you asked because I just revealed your true intention.
Your dad.
My dad would take, like money from me. It was like really like hard. I was, first started like, I don't make anywhere near fucking, what you guys like you make, but I made real good money from what my family is. And, like my dad would take it from me or like other family members would take it from me. And like Hyenas, and I would just be like, that sucks, but whatever. And Hyenas would be like, I can't fucking believe, how are you standing right now? Like I'd be dead on the floor. This happened to me. And I was like, I don't know, man. It's money. I feel like I'll get it back somehow, or if I don't want that to rule my life, the money. So
It wasn't the money part that made me think that. It was the emotional part.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's because I'm dead inside German.
Exactly. You really...
My ancestors have done way worse.
Yeah, I mean, you really shake off that. You really walk that off.
When it comes to money, I just have never been the guy that like wants to nickel and dime himself. Like, I mean, I need to make money. I have a daughter to feed, but
I mean, I'm like that as well. First off, if you do anything at all related to comedy, you're not in it for the money. Like
No.
maybe you are in the long run. There's guys who make, like Sebastian Maniscalco makes whatever, 20 million a year, but the other 5,000 people don't.
Right.
So it's just, or if you're doing a podcast, Joe Rogan maybe gets rich off of a podcast, but that's about it.
Right.
And almost everything I do is never for the money. The only times I've been really, really unhappy is when I did things just for the money.
Wow, that's interesting.
Like when I worked for a while because I wanted to make that first batch back, I figured, okay, I'm going to figure out this investing thing out. So I went full force into it, but I hated it and I was doing well at it, but I was just I was depressed for like 12 years. Like until I stopped doing it, I was just depressed the entire time.
Let me ask you a question, because you're a guy who's done so many different things. Do you think a person can truly do something well that they don't love?
No, I don't think so. I think you have to be obsessed with something. Like think about it. How many shows a week when you were like in years 1 through 5 or 3 through 6? How many shows a week were you doing stand-up comedy?
I was doing like when open mics when I first started. My goal would always be do 50 shows a month.
Yeah, 50 shows a month. That's a lot. Right.
Yeah.
So you had to be, if you weren't obsessed with it, you couldn't do that.
No.
You would be, because each show, you kind of have to like think about it for an hour or two. You prepare and then afterwards you're wound up. So it's like a 3-hour thing each show.
Each show.
So that's miserable if you hate it. And so that's what I would do basically for 12 years. And then, I was running a hedge fund. It was just awful. But starting around 2010, I only would do things I enjoy doing.
Right.
So that was my rule, which most things don't make any money.
Do you understand what a hedge fund is?
A hedge fund.
Because I still have no idea.
It's basically
No,
people
Sonic
give you
has nothing to
money
do with
and
it.
you can invest it however you want.
So it's basically you guys just take rich people's money and invest it. So it's like a money manager for like billionaires.
Yeah, and then you can take a percentage fee. So money managers usually can't take a fee. A hedge fund manager can take like 20% of the profits go to me.
So is it like so you're a stockbroker?
No. It's like just people give money. It goes in the account, one big account, not like a stockbroker. It's like all dealing with all these different accounts, and they can't see what I do. I can do whatever. That's what Madoff was doing. That's why he was a criminal, is because nobody could see what he was doing. So he basically stole it all.
Why would anyone trust complete strangers to do that with their money without any oversight on where the money's going?
So I actually let people have oversight. Like I let them actually view everything I did. So total transparency. But I don't know why anybody would trust Madoff. Like it was weird. Like it's funny, after Madoff was caught. So I visited Bernie at one point during his hedge fund days, and I wanted to raise money for him.
I think those were better times for Bernie Madoff.
And Bernie Madoff, you told us before, won't do your podcast.
Yeah, he won't do my
dying
podcast.
in prison. He sounds a lot like someone else. Her name's Ali Wong. She also won't do a podcast.
And she won't invest money with me either.
Yeah, she should.
So I visited. So I wanted to raise money for my hedge fund. My neighbor, worked for Bernie Madoff. So he said, you should meet this guy. I didn't know who he was at all. So I go into his office. Bernie gives me the whole tour of the office, and then we sit in his office. He's like, "Okay, what are you interested in doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm hoping you could put money in my hedge fund." And he's like, "Listen, you seem like a great guy. You could work here anytime you want. The door is always open. You could have a job here, but I don't know what you're doing with the money. We don't want to take any reputation risk. You could be spending it on whatever for all I know. And the last thing we need is to see the name Bernard Madoff Securities in the Wall Street Journal." So he was nervous about what I was going to do with his money.
That's hilarious.
So
ain't that the pot calling the kettle a thief?
So then I left the building, and I was really depressed because I figured, well, if he's not going to invest with me, and supposedly he had $60 billion under management, I'm never going to be able to really get this business going. So I actually quit doing that business because of that meeting.
That's wild.
Wow. And you saved yourself.
Wow.
I saved myself by not having a job because there were some people I knew.
Sometimes the biggest failures end up being like biggest successes.
I had one friend who had a job there, and he was caught in December. So it's like everybody was 2 weeks away from getting their bonus. So a friend of mine was going to get a $2 million bonus within 2 weeks, and then it just all went to zero. So you got no bonus.
Do you feel like, because how now with comedy classes and everybody thinks that they can do everything now. Like I could just be a comedian and I could just be a singer and there's a class for this, a class for that. Do you think guys who could get to your level, your peers' levels, like with able the way to manage money and make money like that, do you think that can be taught? Or either you have that in your brain and could do it or you can't?
I think it can be taught. Yeah. Because I wasn't good at business at all, or entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. Because you have to be good at. It's like comedy. Think about comedy. There's no one skill comedy, right? There's humor, of course. There's crowd work. There's stage presence. There's likability. There's all these other skills that you have to get good at kind of at the same time. It's the same thing with business. There's like sales, negotiating, execution, managing. There's all these different skills. And so I had like maybe 1 out of 10 of the skills you needed to have. I was really not a good business person at all, and still not. Actually, I really don't like running businesses at all.
So you didn't graduate from some prominent business school or anything like that?
No.
I went to DeVry.
You started in tech, right?
Yeah. I was a software guy, and then I got kicked out of school for various reasons. So I knew how to do some software, and I was interested in writing. So that's all I did. And then I snuck in the back door at HBO, where I was a junior programmer, and then on the side I was doing AmericanExpress.com. But then also I was just pitching TV shows to HBO nonstop, like the whole time I was there. So I was always like juggling a bunch of different things instead of I never once focused on the business.
So what's the thing you love?
The thing with businesses, by the way, is that your employees end up having sex with each other, and it's just
It's really true.
That is, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
That is. that is in every single business.
Yeah.
You have to deal with that.
We know.
And it's a drag. I don't like dealing with it.
Venetia had an affair with Zach, and we had to fire him.
We had to fire him for
We had
that.
to fire him.
Right, because he won't sue. You can't fire Venetia because
Can't fire her. And we had to do just to keep her safe from her dad, because if her dad found out that she had sex with a Palestinian guy, I tell you what, she used to be Greek. She used to be alive. She's dead.
Yeah, it's an honor kill is what we call it in our
It's called village justice.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So you do so many things. What would be the thing you would say is the thing you love then?
I like podcasting and I like writing. And past 5 or 6 years, not 15 times a week, but I've been doing like maybe 5 to 10 times a week stand up. And I know you say, oh, everybody thinks they're going to be a comedian. And I agree with you. Everyone says that. But for 6 years, I've been going up 10 times a week when I can. And tried it, giving it a try.
Put the time in.
Yeah, I'm going
we never have a problem. I think most of any comedian, no matter how funny or not funny you are, I think other stand-ups specifically, I can't speak for the improv world or the sketch world, but stand-ups, as long as you're putting the work in and not stealing jokes, everybody respects and supports you. Everybody.
I don't even care. I think like, if you can make it work, make it work.
You see, I have no goal with it. I just like you guys when you started, I'm guessing, it just is really fun when it works. It's really miserable. This is like money too. It's like investing too. It's really great when it works, and it's the worst when it doesn't work. And it's like managing those emotions is part of the skill as well. Like if you bomb one day or the audience is just silent or whatever, you can't get depressed about it. You just have to like move forward.
No.
Well, that's why I like the road too. Like when it, especially with stand up, when it takes a little bit longer to hit your goals, it's better because it's like, you can come out, like a lot of people come out, they have a hot podcast and it's great because it's the thing that sells so many tickets now and for so many different reasons. And then they could just go start touring live with stand up and they don't they'll just go right to a theater and then they don't appreciate like how beautiful that is, because we were sitting dying at these funny bones in the middle of the country for years and years and years. And just now can we get to the point 10, 12, 15 years later where we can go and do these theaters and sell the tickets.
Well, and you've done theaters in New York City, right? With the podcast. You did
Gramercy Theater, yeah.
But have you thought about going on tour with the podcast?
Yeah, we're going to start doing it.
Because you could probably do theaters all over with the podcast.
We're gonna take a swing at it. I think we'll time it for the fall, right when Trump wins. We'll follow his campaign. We should just campaign. We should just go wherever he's campaigning. We should just go do a podcast.
Go on the tour.
Yeah.
The Trump tour.
The Trump 2020 tour.
I mean,
Venetia would be like, I'm not going.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is from talking about business. Well, there was what was it? David Foster Wallace. He had a great quote. He killed himself, but
it just most geniuses do.
Most geniuses do. James Altucher's only got a little bit left.
It's what it is. James
too smart.
Here for a good time, not a long time.
If you Google though, I want to die. I'm probably like 3rd or 4th on Google ranking. Like I used to be 1st, and then enough people who actually were suicidal complained.
Right.
And so it's someone at Google told me this is the only time they manually changed the algorithm. They put the National Suicide Prevention Hotline first, and so I was bumped down to 2nd, and now I'm like, I don't know, either 4th, 5th, or on the 2nd page.
We'll get you back up there, baby.
I want to die. Let's make a movement.
Let's get it.
Hashtag.
I think one of the quotes I remember he said that I always found fascinating, they always remember, is like, ironies abound as ironies do when cash and art do lunch. It's like reconciling your art with the marketplace is always like, it's always a challenge. It's always like it changes the art, right? It's like Van Gogh. Like if you're a great artist, usually you're not great at business. Because when you become great at business, it compromises the art. So it's this kind of like constant paradox.
I think that's right, because you can't really be authentic if you're so focused on business, because you have to pander. Just think about it in comedy. Let's say you go up on stage and you have a bunch of jokes or a point of view that suddenly the audience is like dying. They're like, you're killing it every time. You'll kind of like say, you'll feel this instinct, like if I'm going to really succeed and make money at this, I better do all my jokes what the audience is telling me they love, instead of continuing to find your voice.
And at that moment, it ceases being art and it becomes marketing.
And I think a lot of people, there's a saying, like, if you listen too much to the audience, you become part of the audience instead of being the artist.
Right.
So I bet you that's why a lot of artists, comedians, writers fall apart is when they and I have this challenge in writing is that it feels good, this works, like this article got hundreds of likes or shares or whatever, and then you feel like feeding that flame again, but that's death.
Well, I think that's when it happens. I know, like, you know, Louis C.K. was talking once just at the back of the Comedy Cellar table, and he was saying somebody asked him, some like random waiter was like talking to him about ticket sales and what's going on in his career, and he said
he just pulled out his dick and
just pulled out his dick and started jerking off. I was like, yeah.
I was making French fries at that table. So.
Yeah.
I'll listen to what you got to say, but just let me get a little more comfortable.
Yeah. So he said that he really he became like Louis and became the comedian that he is when he just started performing for him and not the audience. He said, once I started doing this every night just for me and not, he said, because he used to like respond to people's emails and used to tell, oh, I don't think that joke is funny. I don't think that's funny. He would be like, oh, well, what do you think? And try to like negotiate. Because he was like, I would go into the impression that like every single person, like any advice is good advice and your grandmother could have your next tagline. He was like, and then I just realized like, that's not true. Like I'm the artist for me and I'm just, are you okay? Yeah. What's going on? Do you want to step outside?
Do you need a water? I mean, are you all right for real?
I'm okay. It's like I kept coughing.
All right, but you're like safe, right?
I'm safe.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna use my inhaler.
Okay, go use your inhaler out there because yeah. All right, but if you're gonna go,
what did you notice?
He just started snorting, and but he's okay though. Look, see, he's okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
He's okay. He's okay. I know when Mike
just fall down the stairs.
He did just fall down the stairs. Yeah.
I mean, we're a podcast that we need nets.
Because the thing
we need to do this show with nets.
Because the thing is, because now we're just in a world. It's like, what do we do here? It's like, do we just let him go outside and do that, or do we hide his inhaler and we let the Patreon fans know we're gonna have a death coming? And do we just say, listen, for $5,000 right now, you can watch somebody suffocate? No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. That was just a joke.
Yeah.
He's fine, Mike. No, I looked over and he looked like Baby Yoda, so I didn't know what was happening.
You heard him snort?
I heard him snort, and I was like, "Did you hear him snort?" So I didn't.
But how were you able? I'm very impressed by your.
I'm a caring kid.
Your keen hearing, because how were you able to decipher whether it was a regular breathe or snort? Because that's how he sounds when he breathes.
Because I'm 90% plant-based. I'm 90% plant-based, 10% gay.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Right.
So I got plants fueling my brain, and I'm also I got a homosexual wavelength flowing. So I'm listening to his breaths because I'm right now I'm into the way men breathe.
Right. So okay, that makes sense.
Mostly, and I'm fueled by cauliflower.
Yeah. You're plant-based right now.
But yeah, if we hear a thump, we should go investigate.
Yeah.
But also get the Instagram live going.
Yeah, exactly. Get the camera going and go investigate.
No, I'm kidding. Is he okay? Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So Louis C.K. that was
Louis C.K. When I heard him say that, I was like that, and then Oprah said the money comes second. I remember watching Oprah once. My mom had a flare up of her gout, and I had sprained my ankle, and we were sitting there watching Oprah, and she said the money always comes second. And I remember being 16 and always thinking about that and being like, because I used to be a physical therapist, and I love that career. And then I was like, I'm kind of doing this for my mom though. Like that's what she wanted to do, and I did it. And then I was like, let me just do comedy. And in the beginning, comedy is so nuts because you're paying to do open mics. And I left a job with good health benefits and something I have a doctorate degree in. I left and my mother was beside herself, but I was like, this is just what I want to do. Like, I know the money will come. I don't care. I want to live my life. I want it to be at the end of my life and be like, you know what? I took a chance. I did it. And now, now it's like I could be making $100,000 or $10 million. I'm just happy to do it every day. Like, I'm happy to be doing this.
You get to do what you love and get paid for it.
That's it.
So there's nothing really could be better. Like it's not like you're gonna have a second lifetime where you could do what you love.
No,
it's just this one.
Every single day of my life now, since 2013, number one, two things. I've never looked at the clock. Ever since doing this, you could be like, we're going to do 6 hours of podcasting. I would just be in with you. I'm not looking like, know that. And every day of my life feels like a Sunday afternoon. The days are meaningless. It's truly a meaningless thing.
Does it really feel like a Sunday afternoon? Because you'd be in church.
Sunday afternoon, yeah. Because then I'd be getting pounded by Father Bill.
Yeah.
So it feels like a little bit better of a Sunday.
Saturday at 2.
Saturday at 2.
Yeah.
But having a child now, it's like that's what I want my daughter's life to be. Because my mother, great person, worked every day in a job she hated as an HR manager, and then only realized when she retired 2 years ago how much she hated. And she's like, I feel like I wasted so much time. And
how much money she gave to people for taxes.
Right, and how much money, for
welfare.
How much money she had to give to the good for nothings.
Well, think about all of our parents. Think about all our parents' generation, though. They were all miserable. Like everybody I know, their parents were miserable. Were your parents miserable?
No,
Are they?
They
did
okay.
well.
They're good. They're second
Yeah,
generation.
Vanity
Greek.
was born and raised on the Upper West Side, bitch.
Yeah,
All right.
things are
All right.
cool.
Woke and dope.
Things are cool.
Yeah,
The only
things are
problem
cool.
was like when Zabar's fucking closed on that day that I needed to go shopping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
Vanity.
my
That was tough.
grandparents,
Yeah.
they worked, they struggled, but they made something of themselves.
But it's like interesting because like when you become a parent, like as you are, it's like you just want I just really truly want my kid to do better than me. She doesn't have to be a comedian, of course, but it's like I don't want her to settle for anything other than my life feels like a Sunday afternoon and days of the week don't matter. I know you have to work jobs you don't like and eventually to get there. I'm aware of that, but it's like that's what I want for her. So I don't know whatever she wants to choose, but I want to make sure she gets that from me before her mother kills me in a domestic dispute.
The problem is I think there's a little too much of that going on.
Yeah, that's it's always on the border. Like, how much do you put boundaries around the kid, and how much do you kind of let them go free and support whatever they do?
There's a little too much of like everyone wanting to do specifically what they want. It's like, guy, the world wasn't made for just what you want to do. It's like certain people have certain talents. It's like, look, if you have a curiosity, go do it. And if you're good at something, that's great. But it's like, don't hear someone else's story and go like, well, he did it, I should do it. Because like the truth is you have to have some smarts, some talent to be able to do it. And I don't think there's any shame to just working a normal job.
Well, no, there's not. But that's why when I was getting my doctorate degree, when I was in my 20s, and I remember,
because we're not happy either.
Right.
Nobody's happy.
Yeah.
But
you're just a negative guy.
Huh?
You're just
No, I'm
a
just
negative
being
guy
honest.
that's tough to be around. We're doing great. I think Mike excused himself because you're negative energy.
I
mean, you're killing Mike with your negativity.
I think what you're doing is making other people feel bad about not fucking leaving their job and going to become a comedian.
No.
Here's the truth. No, most people can't become comedians.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you fucking look like Clark Kent. You think that helps a little bit?
And you look like a ball boy that's transitioning into a ball girl. so wait, Mike, welcome back. You okay? Okay, fine. But my point, like, I remember always telling myself I would fucking lock myself in this library every weekend when I was getting my doctorate degree at New York Institute of Technology. That's where I went, NYT, Shadow Westbury. But I do tell girls it was NYU.
You told the girl in Ridgewood that they would think you were going to Harvard.
Well, I said that my mother goes to Harvard, but she did go to LaGuardia Community College, which is the Harvard of Ridgewood. So I did. I would say to myself, I'm doing this. I'm getting my doctorate degree because at that time I thought I was just going to be a physical therapist, and that was going to be a life, choice that I really wanted to do. But I would say I'm putting myself in this prison now, in this library on these weekends when all my other friends are going out and having fun and starting families and whatever there is. I'm like, I'm going to sacrifice my 20s to give myself a lifetime of freedom. That's what I kept saying to myself. I was like, you're buying your freedom right here, man. You're sacrificing so much. So I feel like in many ways, even though it didn't turn into physical therapy, I did put in the time and the sacrifice, which I want my daughter to do, and I just feel like all the sacrifice that I made playing sports and getting my education all leads up to now I can do what I want because I put the time in previously. But listening to you, I'm like, I sometimes feel like I need to take more chances and sometimes I feel like I still am in this prison and I don't realize it.
I don't know about if it's taking chances. I think it's just trying lots of things. Like, you have to basically, whatever you're interested in, just try it. Like, I sent you guys that story. I did a Kickstarter to buy Greenland. So that's like an experiment. Just do as many things that are just crazy as possible and even a little scary. So for instance, think about that Louis C.K. quote. Just look at his last special, Louis 2017. He starts off joking about, so I was thinking about abortion, which is like a hot, a third rail in any comedy club. So he just starts with that. So you get the feeling that since he made that shift in his philosophy, like maybe around 2008, I got the sense he never did a special unless he was a little bit scared what people were going to think. He was always experimenting. That first special where he was really talking about his life, he basically says, my kids are assholes, right? And because I remember it because I was playing it for my daughter and she was like, oh my God. She was like 5 years old. She was like, does his kids know that he just said that? And she was like really worried for Louis C.K.'s kids. She still should be, but
for different reasons.
but that he was taking chances, whereas before he just was doing the absurdist stuff. He wasn't taking as many chances.
Right. Yeah, there's that part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, he started. He turned it into he probably went for the art. He probably go, hey, let me do this for me. Let me do it for me. But my point is this. America kind of the American dream is such a part of American culture, but it's an illusion, don't you think?
Totally. It's all marketing. Like this is why I asked you the last
nobody
time
ends up
why
doing
you own a home.
Yeah, nobody ends up doing anything great who doesn't have the potential to do something great. It's like you can't just like go like, hey, I'm going to try this. And like you could become successful at it, I guess, a little bit. But it's like you're never going to make the top of the mountain unless you were bred. Unless you were born to make the top of the mountain.
Except on TikTok. On TikTok,
it's wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything goes.
That's a fucking crapshoot.
Yeah, but I think that's what it is. Like, Malcolm Gladwell, that book, The Outliers, like he talks so much about like when you were born, like, like what if these guys were born just a year before, a year after, the life would have changed. So it's like now, if you were born, if you're coming into your late teens, 20s, 30s, it's like the internet and podcasting, if this is your ability, that 20, 30 years ago, we would be nothing.
Right.
I'm happy to be born now because at least we have a shot at this. We may not become the biggest that ever did it, but
I just hate that there's this American thing that they like, we frown upon people. Like if people work, like if you go to Scandinavia and like someone's working in a restaurant or whatever, like nobody looks at them like, oh, I guess it didn't work out, or you know what I mean, or.
But also,
there's a thing like, how come you don't go start a business?
But it's
like because I'm a stupid guy.
Yeah, but
why can't I just be a stupid happy guy?
Not everyone should start a business. I shouldn't start a business.
But we also shouldn't look down on those people because we're no happier. It's like I've met the most successful people, the richest people. We're all fucking the same. We're all dying, and nobody's ever happy. Happiness is not like a constant state where everyone's just like, hey, I made $1 million, now I'm happy, or hey, I'm doing comedy and now I'm happy. No, I mean, you made a lot of money, you're doing great, you chew your fingernails off every day.
But I always did.
Yeah, so you're not, nothing makes us happy.
But it does, but I think I'm telling you.
Except for good looking pussy.
I've said that, this is Papa's shout out.
Cackle that.
But I think when, I got to be honest though, I am happy. When I'm with my daughter, I'm like really just truly like checked out and happy. I got to be honest with you. Being a dad for me has changed a lot of what I get what you're saying, but
are you happy or are you fulfilled?
I'm happy. Well, you know what? It's weird. It's a catch-22 because I'm so happy and fulfilled. But then I guess because of my Catholic guilt-ridden mind, I always think about, or disaster mind, what happens if something happened to her and she was gone and not in my life? I wouldn't be able to live anymore.
Yeah, or just imagine this. At some point, she's going to be really desperately unhappy and you're not going to be there.
Or at some point,
I always picture that with my kids.
Yeah, and the best case scenario is I die way before her.
Yeah.
And then I'm without her. Like then I'm going to be without her one way or another. So I think about that too,
Yeah. Having kids is depressing.
It's beautiful. It's isn't it like the biggest paradox? Because it's so depressingly happy.
I don't know. Like when I first had kids, that's when this period when I was going broke also. And everyone kept telling me, oh, spend time with your kids. It'll make you feel better. It just made me feel worse because I realized I just shat the bed on their future too. That's how I was thinking. And so I was just, I really thought they would be happier without me. I had a life insurance policy, so I really thought this is the way I can make them happy is by letting them get my life insurance policy somehow. So that's how distorted my thinking was.
You know what I will say is a nice feeling though?
It's a good business though. You're thinking like, hey, I shit the bed. How can we make a little money out of this?
When
it doesn't work out.
When you stop living like what your parents want you to do, because like my mother wanted to be a therapist, my dad wanted to be a therapist, and I did it. And then like even with my comedy, they wanted me to be clean. They were so happy when I did David Letterman. And now like my mother couldn't be less proud, even though I've been doing well, she couldn't be less proud of the things I say on this podcast. But because I'm doing it for me, and I really kind of like, it's like a Russian doll, your family. Yeah. Like it just gets small. Like now I just think about like me and my daughter. I'm like, I'm proud of it. I'm proud. I'm having so much fun. It's like, I love my mom and respect her, but like, I don't care what she thinks about me anymore. I feel like I keep getting like released. Like I keep thinking like, oh, I'm free. But then I'm like, oh no, there's this chain. And then I break it. Yeah, and then there's the next one and the next one.
And the last one is your sexuality. Let it go. Just be free, baby.
As soon as my dad leaves his last breath, I mean, I am coming way out. I'm sprinting out of that fucking closet.
Well, Why? What would he do if you hypothetically did that?
If I hypothetically, I just don't think he'd be able to take it. But it is interesting you bring that up because I was thinking about because he's always
you called him this morning.
Well, because he's always trying to get his hands in my money. A good way to kill him is to just come out. So if I want him, if I want him gone tomorrow, I could just be like, hey, Dad, here's my Grindr account.
Yeah, hey, Dad, here's my life partner, Mateo Lane.
Yeah.
See, I think though.
No, I'm kidding.
But the point is, I think you're saying is honesty sort of buys freedom.
Yes.
So that's
oh
the
my
thing.
God. So I couldn't believe like there were so many points in my life where I just wasn't honest, like about feelings, and now I just am like saying no to gigs or being honest with someone about my feelings. I'm just like, yeah, it's so freeing. I feel so great being honest because I used to just be a liar.
Well, or you would just not say things. Like you would be clean instead of saying what you really wanted to say. And like everything changes. So suddenly some people hate you who used to like you. So you get new fans over here, but some people who used to always like you start to hate you. And just everything changes, but it kind of gets better.
You know what it
is? Bill Cosby, for whatever, he said something too that I saw once. He said, I don't know what the key to success is, but I'm sure the key to failure is trying to please everyone. Yeah. So I was like, wow.
That's a little weird coming from a guy who consciously made his comedy as appealing to the most amount of people possible.
Of course.
I mean, he was as vanilla as you get.
It's the same thing like, it's the same thing that people who are racist, they want to fuck the people they hate. It's all the bullshit in the mind.
Yeah, but I think there is a certain peace that comes with that because when you're thank you. When you're trying to please everybody, you're just sacrificing too much of yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because nobody is for everybody. Nobody likes doing everything.
Well, yeah, the only way to please everybody is to listen to everybody, and that's a drag.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Like most people have nothing to say. So
I think that's why a lot of like big stars go crazy and lose it. Mm-hmm. Like Jim Carrey, you see these guys because in order to become that level of famous,
right,
you have to be the perfect person for so many different people.
Good call.
That eventually you forget who you really are because you've created this person that's perfect for a plethora of different people, and you're not you anymore. So that you're like, who am I? And then you lose your mind and you fucking reject it all and you go live in the woods and you try to blow up a building in Oklahoma City.
It's just what it is.
That's just what you do. Or you fucking paint all day and say you're happy. Jim Carrey's out of his mind.
He's out of his mind.
Yeah.
But he's like, I feel like that comes with being a genius too, though. And you just start to snap.
Yeah, but I think what he says is true. I think as he became that you become a character because you have to be famous for so many people, which is what's very liberating about this era right now is you don't have to be famous for everyone.
You can be niche, man.
You can be famous for the people who accept you for you, which is exhilarating. You could basically be a gay artist, but not be gay, just gay for yourself.
Yeah. I'm like, you know who I am? Because people are like, hey, you shouldn't joke so much about being gay if you're not gay. It's like, listen, guy, I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do. I mean, one day I'll say I'm gay, one day I won't. I don't give a fuck.
You'll do what you want.
My mother's not proud of me. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, here's the thing. One day you could have an audience full of guys who made a lot of money in tech, lost it, got it back, had 2 wives, have $15 million, because there's like, you can find your specific audience.
Yeah.
You can find
a cage fight Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Can you set it up?
So
he's your friend, right?
Yeah.
How big is he in person?
He's massive because his
head looks like it was made on Easter Island.
Well, that's just it. Is that he's not just tall. He's like weirdly tall. Like his head is like 2 feet tall.
Yeah, it's Cro-Magnon.
And he when you do like a podcast with him, all he does is like he bangs on the table like every word.
Oh my God,
and so
that would make me come.
It's true. The entire room is shaking. So the audio engineer had to come in and like, you have to stop banging on the table. And he's like, oh, sorry. And then he would just start banging again. But he was talking and he's like, he doesn't know when to stop. Like he'll go on and on how, and then I was 36 years old and President Clinton called me during the impeachment and I would have to yell at him to get him to shut up, to say, why would President Clinton call this 36-year-old guy for advice about Monica Lewinsky? Like,
yeah, because I listened to all his podcasts. I listened to your interview. I'm such a Tony Robbins fan. And I always think about that too. I'm like, you're just casually saying that these things happen, but I want to know why.
Yeah.
I know that it happened. You're Tony Robbins.
That's why I want to stop you right there because I want to know why did he call him?
I know your mother used to fucking pour Drano down your throat. I know all the stories, but I want to just know why. Yeah, what happened?
He still wouldn't really say. He just basically said that he got to know President Clinton at these dinners or whatever that they would have, and
got to know him on Epstein's Island.
Who knows?
Let's just say the truth, Easter Island head.
It's where a lot of people met.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
and then Clinton would just call him for advice. He wouldn't really elaborate.
So are you still like actively friends with Tony Robbins? Like it's your boy?
I mean,
he's talked about you.
Yeah, if I wanted him to come on my podcast today, he'd probably come on. Like we only know each other through going on each other's podcasts.
But not many people do that. You know? I mean, I've got to be a small group of people in his life.
Yeah. The first podcast I did with him was at his house, which he told me he had just finished that year paying off, and it was like this enormous, like $60 million house
in New York City.
No, in Palm Beach.
Oh, nice.
So it was just huge, and then and he was actually kind of run down for that podcast. He had just gotten back from some trip, and I had never seen him like tired before. His
energy is insane, man. It's when you watch that stuff. I mean, I've never met the guy, but I mean, the energy that he has is like it's really inspiring.
Yeah. It's cocaine.
He doesn't do cocaine. Nobody said he does
down in these like cold baths, like
the cold baths.
Yeah,
I know. And every time like the heater goes out in my fucking pre-war building, I got to get out of the shower and I wash myself off in the sink. Yeah. But this guy's jumping into cold pools.
Yeah, before every talk, speech, whatever.
You can get him to do our podcast? Can he do the Hyenas?
You should ask him out. He'd probably do it.
I'll start tweeting at him.
He does a lot of those big shows in Florida now, right? I think a lot of them happen in Florida.
I would go to one. I would love to go to one, but I'm not paying 10 G's.
Yeah. It's definitely costly. You gotta be rich to go to a seminar to learn how to get rich.
I feel like actually it's weird to go to those things. Like, can you imagine just like suddenly you go to this thing and you're like jumping up and down with everybody else? It doesn't feel like a natural thing.
It feels like weird,
like a quasi-religious movement.
Well, the same thing to me, and I'm a humongous fan of Tony Robbins, truly huge. But it's like the people that actually pay and go, it's like the same thing with like Jesus and the apostles and the disciples. It's like you need to be a certain kind of person to be an apostle. Like you need to be a guy that's like, I need help. Here's Jesus figure. Like I'm not a person that even though I'm such a fan of his, like, all right, I'm not gonna pay money though for you to tell. I know what the fuck to do. It's just not happening yet. But it takes a certain kind of person to be like, I have nothing left, so you have to give it. Help me now, Tony. That's how I feel.
But a lot of people who see him aren't just those people. A lot of people are like, he advises like very powerful and rich people.
Yeah,
but they still subconsciously, they still may feel they have the insecurities and all that stuff about them.
Yeah, and
it's not about money. It's not about money because those people have money.
Everybody needs a coach.
Everybody needs a coach.
Yeah,
but I feel like a lot of people who are like who will pay the 10 G's, they're like avidly atheist. So
right.
And so
good point.
Like nobody goes around saying, "Oh, I'm not this or that. I'm an atheist." Like you're either nothing or you believe in something. But some people are like, "No, I believe in atheism." They make that into a religion. So, but then Tony Robbins or transcendental meditation or whatever becomes their outlet.
Right,
so they still transfer that energy to something else.
What do you believe? What's your belief?
I just don't believe in anything really.
Right.
It's just one life, and that's
how much. Did you have a bar mitzvah?
I did have a bar mitzvah.
How much did you make?
I think
what was the score?
I think it was like $1,200, which I then I stole from my parents, and it took them about 4 years to figure that out.
That's not a good score. 1,200.
No.
My friends growing up,
family.
They would make they give me like 8, 10 grand.
For your bar mitzvah?
No, my friends.
Your Greek? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I grew up with all Jews. Park Slope, Brooklyn.
Okay.
I didn't meet my first Jewish person until I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
Shout out Dana Strager. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
So you grew up next to all the Hasidic Jews.
I know, but my grandfather would drive through the neighborhoods and make us lock the doors.
Well,
just kidding around.
No.
But there was a game. If you hit one, you got 10 points.
That would be a fun game.
Hit the way Shon, Andrew. What are you having a fucking asthma attack too? Oh. Oh, sorry.
But it's funny how like my grandparents actually hated the Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn. Like we actually really weren't.
Maybe we're related.
Yeah, all the Jews are related.
Oh yeah. No, I know.
So you think you're agnostic or atheist? Which way you go?
Yeah, agnostic. Like I don't
just
really.
Sexy.
I don't. Yeah, I focus on that.
I think
the sexiest ugly guy in the world.
I'm of the opinion that agnostic is the most honest answer. I think that's
And
the
what's
most
agnostic again? Well, I always get
I don't
confused.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Atheist, you're saying God does not exist.
Yeah.
Agnostic,
But you're
I
really
don't know.
but you're really firm about it. Like you'll
Right.
argue about it with people. Like God, like how do you know? Nobody knows anything. Like we just don't even know
Right.
anything. We don't even know. How the government is run really. Like, and then they're going to talk about God. Like everybody's kind of insane.
Atheists
Yeah,
are kind
I
of like
agree.
equally as unpleasant for different reasons than like very religious people.
Yeah, like you could start talking about anything. Like, oh no, I can't talk. I'm atheist. But meanwhile, I'm gonna pay $5,000 to get my TM mantra, and it happens to be this. Don't tell anybody. It happens to be the same mantra they give everybody else, but that's why they keep it a big secret because it costs $5,000. Anyway, I'm ranting.
No, but they
I
also
do TM. I paid the money to do the transcendental meditation.
So you got the same mantra though as everyone else paid
I got the same
$5,000.
mantra, and yeah, if I could have just asked, anybody would have told me it. But I will say it does help me. It might be placebo.
I believe meditation helps.
It only helps me because it gets me away from my phone. You know?
I agree, but I have a thing about TM, like meditation. You could just sit down and meditate. You don't have to, join an organization or subscribe to this one particular practice that costs money. Like sitting down and like thinking or not thinking or whatever doesn't have to cost $5,000.
Prayer is meditation.
Right,
I mean, anything,
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't pay money to pray. So
No, I mean, well, the Catholic Church, you do. You pay with a lot of things to the Catholic Church. You pay
Yeah.
with money, and you pay with your childhood.
yeah.
well, and Jews pay. You have to buy tickets for their religious holidays.
I know.
Smart screwed in at all times.
Smart screwed in kids. Well, can we talk about Greenland quick? Because I just want to know, because you do have the Kickstarter for Greenland, which is still active.
No,
Oh.
they shut me down.
Oh, they shut you down.
Yeah.
So what
They
was
censored
fascinating
me.
about Greenland? First of all, Greenland was one of those ones where Greenland is not green.
No.
Iceland
Right.
is
Iceland
Greenland's
is
made
green.
of ice, and Iceland's green.
Right.
Yeah, so Eric the Red, I guess, found Greenland, and he wanted people to come from Iceland to Greenland, and so he called it Greenland instead.
That's what
it's 97% ice.
Marketing.
Or it was. I'm hoping for global warming, and then the ice will disappear from there, and it'll be a good, vacation spot.
There's a lot of people
Right.
who are angry at you right now because they think you don't believe in global warming.
There you go.
They're coming at you.
But when I'm just in my beach
Yeah.
house in Greenland and it's 90 degrees, I'll be
You'll be there.
laughing at that.
Well, yeah, because and we support. We don't believe in it either. We know it's a made up thing from the Chinese.
So wait, what you're saying is
like coronavirus.
Coronavirus is certainly from the Chinese, and I think they're putting it on the masks.
Yeah,
that
for
people are
sure.
wearing.
Those masks definitely don't work, by the way.
They have corona. They're tainted with coronavirus. It's all an industry.
yeah.
There you go.
You're actually giving some very good advice right now because, like, if you believe in global warming, right, then you should invest and buy a little piece of Greenland.
Yeah, you could
Get rich.
You could rent like a huge place in Greenland for like $1,000 a month.
So how come are you not doing that? Why don't you want to do
It's
that?
still cold there.
well, I did put up this Kickstarter once. So Trump made this tweet that he wanted to buy Greenland.
How much does it cost?
Well, we don't know. Nobody's so Denmark, the prime minister of Denmark responded, and the prime minister of Greenland responded. Greenland's not for sale, and I thought both of those tweets were kind of stupid. Like, first off, why would you tweet you want to buy a country or an island or whatever, and then why would you tweet back it's not for sale? It's like people are negotiating on
Stupid.
Greenland on Twitter.
Can I just make a point about that? That is Trump's superpower. That is his superpower.
Yeah.
Like
that he could tweet and get the entire world to respond.
and they just play his game.
Yeah.
Like you're tweeting back thinking you're owning him, but you've entered into the arena in which he's fighting.
Yeah.
And you can't win that game because he's just better at it than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your point is absolutely valid. Why the fuck would you respond to such a fucking asinine thing?
Like-
once you respond to Trump, you've lost.
Yeah, literally, I think the Queen of Denmark even tweeted back. Like it was insane. So I figured, okay, what is going on here? So I looked I looked it up a little bit, and I guess Greenland is the second largest producer after China of these things called rare earth minerals, which is all your iPhones, all your batteries, the entire electric grid is powered by these elements that you could only get from China. And then I learned, and also Greenland.
Wow.
And so China, if they get really upset at us, they could say, no, we're cutting off the supply. So that's why Trump wants to buy Greenland. But then, so I looked at it, there's a company called Greenland Minerals that does all the mining of these rare earth minerals, and it's 100% owned by the Chinese Nuclear Commission. So, which is like the weirdest thing in the world. Like, how did this happen? That China basically controls all of it. So I figured, okay, I'll put up a Kickstarter. They shut me down. I put it on GoFundMe and I explained all the reasons. There was a bunch of reasons, really. And then people started actually donating, and then GoFundMe shut me down.
How much did you get up to on the Kickstarter?
Probably on the GoFundMe about a few $1,000s, but in like one
good.
day. Yeah.
Right.
And I was trying to raise $100 million.
And what was the claim? Why did they check you down? What did they say?
Because they didn't think I would raise the $100 million, and then they take all the charges on the chargeback fees when they return people's money for their credit cards.
Right.
So
They thought it was too much risk.
Yeah.
So is Greenland getting more and more land each year?
yeah, the
according to
ice.
global
Well, I don't know. There's actually two completely opposite research that says one says the ice is melting, the other said there's more snow than ever. So it's like any.
But
other
in the
research.
capital of Nuuk, the NUUK, people live there and are like native Greenland people.
Yeah.
They're not like imports. They were born and raised. They're from
Yeah.
island people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
and
there's-
that's-
or,
90% of Greenland is Greenlandic. Some other, Native American kind
Or was
of.
that like an Eskimo type of?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Something. And then, but also, Greenland has the highest rate of suicide. If it was a country, Greenland would have the highest suicide rate of all the countries in the world.
Really?
It's like 83 per 100,000.
You should go there and start fucking thinking.
They're
That's where
not
you
going to go,
yeah.
the Greenland search engine. I want to die. I'm going to get number one there.
Get there.
Definitely.
They're like, we do too.
Sweden, Finland, all of them that live in the north, they have the highest suicide rates because it's just a vitamin D deficiency.
No, you know what? It goes up in the summer because people they can't sleep because there's nonstop sunlight.
Wow.
So it's the
Very
insomnia
interesting.
that does it.
It's a fascinating place. We should. Can we right now? Can we fly from JFK to Greenland?
Yeah,
There's
you
flight-
could land in Nuuk.
Should we go? Should the
I don't
three of
know.
us just go and bring a Zoom mic and just do a potty waddy from Greenland?
should.
We
We
would
could
be the first podcast from Greenland.
I bet you if we went.
I bet you there's a podcast in Greenland.
No,
Somebody's-
no, I don't know.
We got to beat Schultz, the piece of shit.
Yeah, not only can we go there, I bet you we could probably meet with the prime minister. Who else? What else is that guy doing? All
Seriously,
day
why don't
long?
we fucking do that?
Yeah, we
Should we do that? The three of us? We'll bring Tim Dillon down and let him back the twin.
Tim Dillon would have fun. Let's do it.
How many people live in Greenland?
15,000.
It's like 55,000.
Oh, 50,000 in Nuuk.
Because by the way, it's other than like the U.S., it's not that hard to go to one of these places and just meet the prime minister. Like you can just walk into their office and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're from America."
Yeah.
And are you in?
Yeah,
I've
pull
done
in a folding chair and then you're sitting with them.
Yeah, like one time I was going to Turks and Caicos and I literally tweeted to the prime minister, "Hey, I want to meet you." She's a woman and I never interviewed a prime minister before. So I want to meet you, come on my podcast. And so the last day I was there, she tweeted back and said, "Okay, can you come on over?"
Yeah, but
right
she
now?"
did that because you're somebody. Like if Mike Suarez was like, "Hey, I want to meet you," they'd call security immediately.
If we take the caravan to Greenland, I guarantee you we could.
I really think we should do that. When's the optimal time to go? I guess in the summer.
Yeah.
Would be the time to go.
Yeah.
How cold is it in the summer? Is it like?
I don't know. I think in the summer it's
June-
warm.
June
It's
20.
warm in the summer.
well,
We should really go. I mean,
yeah,
depends on-
Iceland's like 40 or 50 degrees in the summer. It's probably the same.
it's probably not even that long of a flight. It's right by Canada.
No,
right?
it's like
4 or 5 hour flight.
It's like 4 hours. There's good reviews on Google Maps of the airport.
Does like Delta go there? Like major airlines will go there, or like you probably have to fly Nuuk fucking airlines?
Yeah, I think there's some weird airline that goes
Igloo
there.
Air.
Yeah,
50 degrees Fahrenheit.
in the
That
summer.
I
Yeah.
love that.
10
yeah, and
height in the
it's
winter.
light all day
I say
long.
we do it.
We should do a comedy festival there.
Let's do it.
Seriously, why don't we do that?
yeah, we should
They
do
have
it.
comedy in Iceland and like
Yeah, but not Greenland.
No,
know,
let's just take over Greenland.
Just imagine this. So let's say the U.S. did buy Greenland. Can you imagine the pain? Like, and I'm thinking now of your daughter who's half Puerto Rican, right?
Yes.
Could you imagine if the Puerto Ricans look at Greenland and Greenland becomes the 51st state before Puerto Rico?
Oh
Yeah,
my
that'd be
God,
rough.
it would be
Yeah.
yeah.
There'll be a lot of upset people in the street.
No, but
I'm
the
telling you,
Puerto
there'll be
Ricans,
fucking civil unrest.
But the Puerto Ricans don't want to be put to a state. That's what.
No, they
my
need
kid's
to
mom
put me
said.
to a state right now. I'm already American. They're going to be a lot of civil unrest if we not put to a state.
Yeah,
Put me to fucking America.
My kid's grandma asked when Trump got elected. She was like, "Could you protect me because you a U.S. citizen?" I was like, "You are too, lady. You're Puerto Rican and you were born in New York.
You're born in such
Do you know what a passport is?"
Shit, I know. I don't want.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know. I just got these full stamps.
Can you just convince your baby mom first to put that Iranian clip back up?
She's gonna. Yeah, we're gonna get back together just so I could put. There was a clip about Iranian women that we posted that was so funny that she asked me to take down because I was like, so I'm willing to get into another committed relationship and have another baby with her just so we can get that clip back up on Instagram.
Wait, why'd you make it take it? Why should we take
I
it down?
forgot. I don't know. I actually don't even remember why. But was it a problem? I don't remember.
She remembers.
She
always remember. Oh,
she
chicks
keeps
know.
track.
she just felt like it was too close to home.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
She's probably not wrong.
That was. I've heard everything you've said in this podcast. That was the line that was too close.
I know,
You know
that's
what's interesting? You know what's going to be
That's a
interesting?
very good point.
I got an animated show in development at Comedy Central. We just went to pilot, which is looking like could actually get on the air. Now they just told me they want me to host a show that's already going to the air. They want me to be the host. No audition, just be the host of a new show coming out on Comedy Central. And it's like, I'm willing to say this, to do this, but I'm fully aware that I'll probably be canceled for something that I said on the podcast before it even gets out or while it gets out. But I'm still willing to do it because I know that'll probably just help my career. It'll just help our podcast because it'll bring us to the next level because it's bullshit.
Like honestly,
it's bullshit to cancel anybody for comedy.
I mean, outside the comedy community, how many people actually knew who Shane Gillis was before he was fired?
Now people know.
It's so
because
great.
You should be canceled if you say something actually truly mean.
It's free press.
But just to be a comedian, it's like
it's free press.
It's almost like it's better for us to get on television shows and sitcoms, and then because then people start thinking, what is this podcast?
But the thing is, though, you've already said everything on the podcast.
Yeah.
So they kind of know what they're getting
and
into.
And we said Wei Shan after it. So, that's legal. That's legal. It's fine. Legally, if you say Wei Shan, it doesn't count.
Yeah. No, they if you get anything, that's how you know it's not about any sort of moral point. It's about just ripping someone down. Because you could exist on your podcast forever ad infinitum and nobody's coming after you. As soon as it's perceived that you've gotten something, then they'll be like, let's take it. Let's find something to take it.
And it's funny because everyone else before the comedy world was already canceled. Like you either were polarized or canceled before the comedy. Now they're kind of figuring, we can't let this happen. The comedians have this open voice that nobody questions. We got to start canceling the comedians because everybody else has already been canceled.
Right.
Everyone else has been through it.
Right.
So like if you were Tony Robbins and you said something 5 years ago, they would have canceled you. They did try to cancel him.
Yeah. Right.
So or even articles I wrote like 8-9 years ago, somebody would say something and then suddenly I would lose 500,000 readers over one thing or another. It's just
something you said.
Or I would get death threats, like just the worst stuff. And it'd be like nothing. But now they finally are attacking comedy because you're like the last frontier.
Yep.
Of canceling.
I think right at the end of a civilization crashing, that's probably one of the last waves.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Like everybody always says we got to protect culture for the next generation, for our grandkids. Why? Like what's so great about human beings?
I say this is what we do. I think we should euthanasia the planet. Because look, we're going to die anyway, right? Like eventually the sun's going to explode. So we all know we're all dying. We know the planet's dying. We know the universe is expanding into probably nothing eventually. So why don't we just Dr. Kevorkian this thing? Why don't we take our fate into our own hands and just nuke ourselves? Like have a
That's
mass.
what we're doing with the coronavirus.
We have a mass suicide, and we all hold hands like fucking.
Like a Jim Jones, but for the planet.
We all hold hands.
We all kind of breathe in coronavirus.
And we just go in at the same time singing We Are the World, and we just say fuck you to this whole thing.
Well,
I just want to go to Greenland first.
But why not just enjoy it while it lasts? Like my kids say to me, "Oh, don't you care about our grandchildren?" And I'm like, "Not really. Like I'm never going to know them. I care about you, but I'm
not as punk rock. That's why."
Right, there you go.
I mean, having a mass suicide the world over is fucking punk rock.
I'm down to do the mass suicide. I just want to get two things off. I want to go to Greenland, and I want to get that post-op pussy. That's what I want to do. So you guys let me go to Greenland and Thailand in one trip. Would you be willing to pay for a sex change if I wanted to get one?
I don't think so.
Patreon level.
that might be. But I will pay for the trip to Greenland. That's what I'll do.
Nice.
So
now here,
let's do the Greenland thing.
We really should. Seriously, us, Schultze and Tim Dillon. Let's do that.
All right.
Let's do it.
And by the way, I think we're all mispronouncing Greenland anyway, so we might as well just go and be as annoying as possible in Greenland.
Yeah. I want your business opinion on this. Do you think somebody will buy the Tim Dillon episode eventually?
For $1 million on Patreon.com.
Do you think it's ever possible?
Patreon.com/BayRidgeBoys, $1 million.
Not you. I'm just saying, do you think there's a conceivable scenario where the value of it is deemed enough that someone buys it?
Yeah, because think where's Tim Dillon going to be in 10 years? All right,
dead.
Everyone,
dead in a plate of fucking mac and cheese.
So one way or the other, if he's dead, then the last remaining comedy he has that people haven't seen is going to increase in value.
Right.
Or if he's alive and his career shoots up as it's doing right now, it's going to increase in value.
Either way,
imagine if you had like a Jim Carrey from like 1980 saying something outrageous that might, someone might pay for that.
That's smart.
James,
You're absolutely
James,
right.
You're confident somebody will buy this eventually.
Well, the two
May not be
reasons
tomorrow.
It may not be tomorrow. You
the
gotta be
two
patient.
reasons he gave were just very cogent. I see what he
You
Dead
said.
know
or
what's going to
alive.
happen? Somebody's going to want to buy it when that amount of money is still meaningful, but we don't need it like we need it now.
Yeah,
we already have exploded by then. Like, I don't fucking take the money.
Exactly.
We'll just give it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then you might get canceled from your show. But
Yeah.
I don't know what's on the video. You're gonna have to.
Well, we can let you listen to it.
on the jet to Greenland. We're gonna have a
Great
private
idea.
viewing.
If you pay for the flight, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll pump in.
And I'll make sure. And I don't know this. I'll make sure we'll get the Prime Minister of Greenland on your podcast as well.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you
pay
this.
for the hotel. I know a girl out there in Greenland.
I'll tell you this about the Tim Dillon episode. It was the funny. It might have been the funniest episode we ever did. And just think how wild this podcast is. We decided we couldn't release it. So if anyone ever does buy it, I think it is worth the hype.
I mean, some of you guys call me Chrissy SS, and we still couldn't release the Tim Dillon podcast. You know?
And it was organic. It wasn't planned. So, it was just something that happened organically where we got to a point where we were like, we can't put this out. So, yeah, it's kind of like a baseball card. Maybe if we wait and we wait and we wait like 50 years.
Yeah, it's a collectible.
Yeah, it's a collectible.
How much
Gotta
content is Tim Dillon gonna put out? This is value.
That's
It's
true.
value. All right.
It's supply and
James,
demand.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Of course, at James Altucher, which you guys hear on this on this podcast every single episode. Anything else, James?
No,
Promote,
I'm
say?
just happy to come back on mine.
Yes,
love to.
Let's hang out.
Will you come back on ours? This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Mrs. James Altucher, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I hope he gets a blowy tonight.
I hope so too. We'll see.
Yeah,
going to Cincinnati. I'm dragging her to Cincinnati tomorrow for Go Bananas.
She's like,
Oh, wow, she's soaked.
yeah, she's going, this isn't
know.
what I signed up for.
Yeah, she goes, I thought you had millions of dollars, guy.
You taking me to Go Bananas?
You're making jokes in a basement in Cincinnati. That's what's happening.
It's going to be great. Have you been out there to that club before? One of the best
No,
clubs in the country.
I've never been there.
Who you bringing to work with you? Or just
Tony
you?
Woods.
Oh, Tony Woods.
Yeah. So he's bringing me. So,
Oh, he's
yeah.
bringing you. Okay,
yeah,
I was,
and,
okay.
then we're going to
Legend.
Amsterdam. So
All right, and you family
Yeah,
going?
yeah, everybody
Beautiful,
going.
man.
Yeah.
Tony
That's
Woods,
awesome.
legend, man.
Tony Woods, true legend. All right, thanks guys so much.
Huh?